Hello, welcome back to the Fruit of Grisaia. It did skip some text, so I'm going to go back and read it. As expected, the instant I show my face in the classroom, Amane jumps all over me. Most of my classmates are gathered on the far side of the room, apparently having watched me from the window. And as I enter, they're all looking at me with questions in their eyes. Okay. I'll try 16 out a little bit. Blondie? Naturally, Amane is the only one who steps forward to interrogate me as if declaring herself the representative of the class. That said, the rest of the group doesn't seem to be disinterested either. Makina is staring at me with a dazed expression, and Sachi's clutching her hands together in front of her chest, waiting for my words with bated breath. Oh, that's barely enough time. That's from Mashiro. For some reason, she's glaring at me like I kicked her puppy. Sakaki, on the other hand, is sitting primly in her seat reading a book as if to announce she's above such things. But, judging from the way she hasn't turned the page once since I came in, we've probably got her attention as well. I told you already, didn't I? She's my superior for my part-time job. That is just enough time. It shows the text right after I'm done reading it. Yeah, I lost both my parents when I was a kid. Okay. Never mind. Hold on. I gotta go back and read that. Superior. Okay. Yeah, I lost both my parents when I was a kid, so I have to earn my own living expenses. So it was too fast for her too. It moved on to the next text before she was done speaking. It's a little difficult to summarize, but, well, I get rid of garbage or crawl into various places and take care of the cleaning. Is that what you call dirty work? Okay. That's right, but she's on the management side, so she doesn't get her hands dirty. Okay. JB. So that's what 16 times looks like. Her real name is Harder Yuria. JB's a pet name. She's a naturalized citizen. I think she's originally German, don't really remember. I pull out the chair from my seat and drop my bag on top of the desk with a deliberately loud thump. The questioning over now. If you've satisfied your curiosity, then go sit down. Class is going to start. Just as I speak, the first bell rings and Makina and Sachi scurry back to their seats. But the large woman who's been interrogating me, her expression still smoldering with irritation, pulls out the chair from the seat in front of mine and sits down heavily. I imagine it would give you a good amount of time if you were reading in Japanese. I would expect that. What? Spit it out then. That's your big question? What a joke. Don't stick your nose in my face. You've got a mustache starting there. Yeah, just screwing with you. Sounds fun, give it a try. Amane's punch is slow and lacking in serious intent. I dodge it easily with a slight swaying movement of my upper body. Okay, I should either slow down or, like, times 12 in between times 8 and times 16 would be good for me. Think this over calmly. Do I look like a man who could be in a relationship? Amane stares into my eyes as if searching for the truth. Well, yeah. What is? Well, so this question finally came up. On paper, I was studying abroad in Canada, or some similar lie they came up with for my forged personal history. But if they start pushing into that story, this will just drag on. Answering somewhat honestly now should make for less trouble down the line anyway. Before I came here, I guess I was a freeloader of sorts. If you want to make it sound fancier, maybe I was being supported by an unrelated older woman. No, she's a friend of the other woman. I started mooching off her after the first one died. In exchange, she worked me brutally hard on the job. She doesn't have anything to complain about. Amane shuts her eyes, slaps her hand on her forehead, and heaves a heavy sigh. Right. I'll admit I don't quite understand why that's the main point here, but I guess this stuff is on the mind of girls at this age. If you try to force your perspective onto everything, you'll lose sight of the bigger picture. Although she doesn't look entirely satisfied by my response, Amane mutters a brief, "Well, alright," rises from the chair and heads back to her own seat. I watch until she finally sits down, then quickly turn to look behind me. Immediately behind me, I find a bright red Makina staring back at me. Were you listening? Crossing her arms tightly in front of her chest, her face bright red, Makina babbles frantically. In response, I thrust out my right hand in an energetic thumbs up. Nice tsundere, Makina. If you don't want to talk about something, you should make it awkward to ask. Based on that theory, I tried spicing things up a little more than the reality, but who knows how much of it they believed. Of course, it's true that my parents died when I was still a kid, that I was picked up by an older woman, my master, and that I lived off the money she earned. So, for the speeds, times 16 will be a little faster than I'm going. Right? Wait, it just keeps going. Okay, weird. After my master's death, I did get work from her friend JB in order to earn my keep. On top of that, it's thanks to her vouching for me that I'm able to attend a normal school like this in the first place. Now that I think about it, I didn't change the facts much at all. But then the more you focus on constructing believable lies, the less they tend to work. When you stick more or less to the truth, you'll end up convincing people no matter how absurd the story sounds. A promising start would be a bit of an overstatement, but I think I can work with this. Hmm. 16 is higher than what I'm doing. No matter what sort of life you're living, you run into people who just won't listen to what you have to say. It actually does go all the way up to 32. It's pretty fast. Whoa. Okay. Stop. When words don't get through, the easiest alternative is beating them into submission. Certainly a bit of a rough solution, but when you're dealing with another man, it's at least an option. But when you're dealing with a woman, let alone a shrimp of a girl who doesn't come up to your shoulder, it's a different story. If you start swinging your fists around out of irritation under those circumstances, anyone would call it bullying the weak. It's bad style, leaves an unpleasant taste in your mouth, too. Weird. So when I go from 16 to 8, it just plays a couple more lines. What's called for in such situations is perseverance and patience. They're always saying we live in an age of technological wonders. So I've been waiting for someone to invent a machine you can stick on your back and switch to Zen-like, instantly granting yourself infinite self-control. But despite the clear market potential, the world isn't yet such a convenient place. Well, no big deal. I'm pretty used to endurance tests by now. It's been 5 minutes since I spotted Yuuji Makina wandering aimlessly around the campus and called out, "What are you up to?" in a casual tone. On the bright side, she reacted to my voice and stopped dead in her tracks instead of fleeing. But the next step is proving a little more problematic. The girl's just staring up at my face. She hasn't said a word. Okay, and times 32 is the highest it goes. Can you not speak Japanese? Silent as always, Makina shakes her head back and forth in denial, apparently having understood my question. Are you afraid of me, maybe? Her silence continues, and this time there's neither confirmation nor denial. It seems unlikely that she didn't understand the question, which would mean this one is in uncertain territory somewhere between yes and no, as far as I can guess. I'm repeating myself, but this sort of communication takes a lot of patience and persistence. I try to consciously consider things from Makina's point of view. A transfer student with an unclear background, what's more, a man 178 centimeters high. From the perspective of Makina, who had guessed to be around 140 centimeters, it might well be a little intimidating to have me towering above her. For the moment, I crouch down so that my eyes are level with hers. It seemed like you were wandering around the grounds. Are you looking for something? Makina speaks a single word in a quiet voice and once again shakes her head in denial. Then what were you doing? That's a point of some interest to me. But, well, if you get down to it, wherever she is and whatever she's doing is her own business, I suppose. Okay, I'm not a policeman, and I don't have any reason to drag it out of her. In this case, it might be best to find some words to wrap this up cleanly, give her a friendly goodbye, and let this timid creature be on her way. But just as I reach this conclusion, Makina slowly moves her hand to the rear of her skirt. Grabs something with her stubby fingers and pushes it in front of my eyes. What's this thing? At a glance, the item in Makina's small hand is a toy-like object roughly the size of an egg, with an LCD screen buried into the center. Oh, what's that? On closer examination, there's some unknown life form or monster, most closely resembling a chick, displayed in blocky pixels on the central LCD. It seems to be programmed with some cheap animations, about 3 patterns or so. Ah, Come to think of it, I remember reading a news article about this a few years ago, after developing the smallest 3-axis geomagnetism sensor in the world at the time. A certain company fed that technology into a children's electronic toy, which then became an explosive hit among grade schoolers. Oh. It's a pedometer, right? One of those things where the peg grows up faster the more you walk. Nodding her head, Makina returns the pedometer in her hand to her waist. In other words, she wasn't looking for anything in particular. Her wandering itself was the objective. Walking is a good thing, since it's aerobic exercise without too much strain on the joints, and if you're going to walk anyway, having some sort of visible result from the effort might make it feel more worthwhile. Makina points at the school gate as she speaks. I see. It makes sense that she'd want to avoid crowded places, given her extreme shyness. That would restrict her strolls to pacing around the school grounds, which would quickly get repetitive. So the digital pet serves as a distraction from that boredom, most likely. You like taking walks? Sorta, is it? Well, walking for fun at this age might be a little odd. It seems more like the hobby of an old man. You have any other interests, like reading, for example? Read any books lately? Manga's fine too, whatever. To tell the truth, I'd already heard from Amane that Makina often reads books, and reading is a hobby of mine as well. I think it's a decent common topic for starters. In response to my question, Makina holds her right index finger to her chin and mumbles, while gazing up at the sky. Huh? Oh, life-threatening to observe with the naked eye. What kind of death-ray weapon is that? And a sweet of all things. Oh, some new tech from the West? Just looking at it as dangerous would mean it's probably some variety of optical weapon, something like an X-ray possessing mass, or some sort of beam saber light style-based light-based killing tool. No, wait, if just seeing it is dangerous. Some sort of super weapon that radiates a pulse to the receptors of the eyeball, using a flickering pattern to stimulate the brain cells and trigger accelerated apoptosis? What? Hold it. This thing is a sweet, right? A sweet? Where the heck do we go from there? All I'm getting is some sort of chocolate pastry shooting out a mysterious beam of light. Pew pew pew. Don't know. I give up. What's the answer? What? See and die. Oh, I get it. I missed that angle, Candy. Funny. Yeah, sorry to hold you up. Without even a bye or later, Makina leaves the area at a trot as if fleeing from me. It doesn't seem like she outright hates me, though. How long have you been there?
みたらし団子のあたりかな。
What do you mean by the opposite?
ああ、まあなんつうか、単純に人見知りってのもあるけど、マキナはユージ君に嫌われないようにしてるんだと思うよ。
Trying to not be disliked?
マキナって本当はもっと明るい子なんだけど、明るすぎてうざがられることも多いから警戒してるのよ。
True enough, I remember seeing her rushing around brandishing a cicada and cackling that first time. If that's her normal state, then the way she behaves in front of me would certainly be a product of deliberate self-restraint, but...
警戒しているってことは、ユージ君に嫌われないように意識してるって証拠じゃない？
I think it could be interpreted as simple fear as well.
まあ、怯え半分ってのはあると思うけど、大丈夫じゃないかな。
What makes you say that?
さっきマキナと会話するとき、ユージ君マキナの目線に合わせて腰を低くしたでしょ。あれって実は有効手段なんだよね。
Yeah, when I was a kid, there was a time I'd been surrounded by unfamiliar adults and found myself on the brink of tears. When one of the adults stooped down to talk with me face to face, I immediately got emotionally attached. Looking back, I feel like shouting, "You sure got attached to an outrageous person," or complaining about what an idiot I was, but...
ほら、私も背高い方だし、最初はマキナもなかなか懐かなくってさ、目線を合わせて話すって裏技に気づくのに1ヶ月もかかったよ。
And now she's good to you, or something like that?
ああ、確かにべったりだけど、言うほどいつも一緒ってわけじゃないわよ。マキナは基本的に一人で遊ぶ方が好きだし。それにあの子、感情のムラが激しいっていうか、あんまり変な意味にとってほしくないんだけど、ずっと一緒にいると疲れるのよね。
Maybe she's playing by herself because she understands that?
うまく説明できないけど、猫みたいなものよ。構ってほしい時だけニャンニャン言ってすり寄ってきて、飽きたらスッといなくなっちゃう感じ。癖っ気でふわふわしてるし、体もぐにゃぐにゃで柔らかいし、体温が高いから抱くと暖かいし、なんか甘ったるい匂いするし、猫っぽいよね。
Yay. Cat, I see.
まあ、慣れないうちはそっけないかもしれないけど、絶対に悪い子じゃないから仲良くしてあげてよ。
I don't plan to force her to be friends if she doesn't want to be, but yeah, I'll try to avoid being hated. If I avoid unnecessary contact, I shouldn't inspire any hatred or come to hate anyone myself. In exchange, I won't be liked or come to like anyone either. Maintaining emotional distance along appropriate lines is an essential but extremely difficult aspect of forming efficient interpersonal relationships. Okay. Good to know. Of course, there are always these careless puppy dog types who leap into your arms wagging their tails right from the start. Well, just thinking about how beautiful you are.
キスしたくなっちゃった？
Alright, Amane, close your eyes.
うん。
Her chest swelling with some ridiculous expectation, Amane closes her eyes and thrusts out her lips as instructed. Does she like me though? Moving quickly and silently, I make good my getaway, leaving the girl to her foolishness.
どこ行ったのよ。もう意地悪。
I see Makina may have the right idea. Leaving out later a goodbye entirely and silently running away certainly is less troublesome. Don't take it the wrong way, Amane. It's not that I hate you. I'm just trying to avoid being hated by you. Read books in a well-lit area. That was a teaching of my master's. At that time, I was accustomed to reading while shut up in a closet or dark room, so those words felt a bit refreshing. Of course, it's not like I'm worried about obeying the teachings of a woman who's already dead, and I'm still not good with direct sunlight. But here I am searching for a bright place with the book in hand anyway. Aren't I adorable? No reason to wander around looking for a sunny place in this horrible heat. Stepping away from the air-conditioned school building, I unfold the Schools and Missions Guide pamphlet. On the coated, three-fold brochure, there's a bird's-eye view illustration of the campus, with a mark to the south of the schoolhouse, annotated, planned site of library construction. Planned site, meaning there isn't a library yet, I guess. Although there is something library-esque on the second floor of the school building, the collection only holds around 200 books. You can apply to have a book stocked if you're after one in particular, and apparently a bookmobile replaces the existing collection every once in a while. But it doesn't seem like it's being used that heavily. In other words, there's no reason to go out of my way to borrow the keys to use it. I brought my own books, and there are plenty of well-lit areas besides the library. While casually looking over the pamphlet, I find the words Rose Garden. This is definitely our principal's doing.
乙女たちの通う学園にはやっぱりバラ園が必要よね。毎年新入生が入学する時期には先輩たちが自分で育てたバラを新入生の胸に添えるの。素敵。
Or so I can easily imagine a certain woman who doesn't know how to act her age, deluding herself. Pretty flowers might calm your mind, but they won't fill your belly. If you've got room to grow them, it would be better used for an edible plant, but telling her that would probably just make things unpleasant. I'll just have to remember to greet Principal Tachibana with a "Good day, One-sama," the next time I see her. Rose garden. I don't have any interest in edible flowers, but I guess there would be a shade tree or two as well. Imagining myself reading under a tree surrounded by blooming roses brings a smirk to my face. Guided by these silly thoughts, I decide to head toward the rose garden for the first and only time. They call it a rose garden, but not a single one is in bloom. Based on the map, this is definitely the right spot, and there's even a white arch that seems appropriate, but from what I can see, there aren't any roses in flower. Maybe the garden's still a work in progress, or perhaps they're cutting the buds during the summer. Well, not like I came to see roses in the first place, so whatever. That was a surprise. I wasn't expecting anyone else to be here. No, more importantly. What the heck is she doing? I approach silently and touch Makina's neck in the area of her carotid artery. She's got a pulse. On close inspection, she's breathing quietly, so I guess the wicked stepmother, Amane in this case, didn't feed her a poisoned apple. She's sleeping. Wait, this thing is a cat, I think. A large cat is serving as the soundly sleeping Makina's pillow. I take it for a stuffed animal at first glance. It sure looks like a fluffy toy, but when I draw close, the stubby ears buried in its fur twitch like miniature radar antennas. My next question, why sleep out here, soon resolves itself. I see. It's definitely nice and cool here. Cats are knowledgeable about cool places, or so they used to say. As for Makina, I expect she was wandering around by herself as per usual, then grew exhausted and collapsed into sudden sleep on the spot. I watched the partially gnawed apple on Makina's chest rise and fall with her breathing. She fell asleep in the middle of eating, just like a baby. I noticed that Makina's mouth is half open and dripping transparent drool. Not to mention, her hair is a scruffy mess, the ribbon on her uniform is crooked, and she's wearing different socks on her left and right leg. What's with this girl? As I look down upon her, Makina suddenly snuffles noisily. What a weirdo. It's been a while since the last time I laughed at a woman's sleeping face. Even as I'm filled with the desire to keep watching, discomfort at the peaceful atmosphere of this place also wells up within me. At that moment, I sense someone watching me and look over to find that Makina's pillow cat has woken and is staring up at me in surprise. Sorry to bother you. Go back to sleep. I leave them, taking care to avoid making noise, and sit down under a tree a little ways away. Phew. Wandering around as she pleases, then falling asleep in the nearest cool place when she gets tired, I see. She certainly does remind you of a cat. I'm envious. That's not sarcasm or anything. I'm genuinely envious of Makina. I'm sure that she brings that little pocket of naturally peaceful space with her wherever she goes. I think that's something worth envying, and it's probably very precious to her as well. Which might well be why she doesn't want to step outside the sanctuary of a school when she can avoid it. inside this sanctuary that would crumble in a moment without the protection of others. I wonder if the day will come when I too can sleep in that utterly defenseless way. Turning toward the sound, I noticed the fat white cat from before appearing in the direction of the thicket I just left. Rustling its way through the foliage on stubby legs, it stops suddenly when it spots me sitting under the shade of my tree. Glaring at me with sleepy-looking eyes, it lets out a single disgruntled meow. My bad. After getting suddenly awoken in the middle of a pleasant nap, it's only natural. If I were pulled out of bed on a Sunday morning by some pushy religious solicitors, I'm sure I'd make a similar face. Although the fat cat doesn't seem to have accepted my apology, he snuffles roughly and lumbers away from this place. As I'm watching the cat's dignified exit, the bushes start to rustle again. I hear the sound of a dim-witted creature awakening and lazily stretching out its body. When I take a look, Makina is crouched on the ground on all fours, bending her back. She really is a cat in human form. Makina opens her mouth, holds down a yawn, and rubs roughly at the tears spilling out of the corner of her eyes. After a restless look around the area, she draws herself up off the ground. It's not like I'm doing anything I need to be ashamed of, but before I realize it, I've hidden myself from her. After standing stock still for a moment, Makina takes a bite from the apple in her hand and wanders off briskly. And where's she off to now? It doesn't look like she's got any particular destination in mind. Driven by an interest I find difficult to pin down, I decide to quietly follow Makina. There's no regularity to Makina's actions. Just when I think she's walking straight towards something, she'll come to a sudden stop, look around restlessly, and head off in a different direction. Doesn't seem like she's lost or anything, so I suppose she's just moving wherever her whims take her. Unfortunately, that randomness makes it pretty tough to tail her. It wouldn't be a serious problem if she noticed me, but if I just call out to her now, I have the feeling she'll scamper off again. I skillfully hide my presence and continue shadowing her movements. Tailing a girl without her knowledge. Objectively speaking, I guess this would be stalking. Just as I'm finally starting to get fed up with following Makina's directionless rambling, which resembles the random staggering of a sleepwalker more than anything else. The rare wandering monster in question comes to a sudden halt. Her resting place is an area on the outskirts of the school courtyard, in front of an artificial cement pond of uncertain purpose. Makina totters her way up to the pond, thrusts her hand in the pocket of her skirt to retrieve some half-eaten white bread, and starts tearing off chunks to throw into the water. Every time Makina's small hand hurls a bit of bread into the pond, a loud splashing sound resonates from the surface of the water. Apparently someone stocked it with fish, and she's feeding them. She's fattening up to eat.
ザニガニ
Clawfish? Makina looks around the area rapidly, grabs a short tree branch lying nearby, then leans over the depths of the pond and begins poking into the water. Although I was puzzled there for a moment, it seems like she's trying to capture a crawfish she spotted in the pond. This looks risky. Given her character, it's obvious she'll be taking a face-first dive into the pond very soon if I just sit here. I approach Makina from behind and call out to her. Hey, watch out or you'll fall in that pond. I guess I shouldn't have called out to her out of nowhere. Makina's hand slips off the ground in a stereotypical slapstick pratfall. Whoops. Swiftly reaching out to the floundering Makina, I firmly seized the collar of her school uniform and pulled her back to safety. Dangled by the nape of her neck like a kitten, Makina lets out a feline cry. You're light. Are you even 40 kilos? There isn't any difference in weight from the backpack I'm always carrying. Given this weight and size, I could lug her a good 25 kilometers in a single day. Oh, sorry. I wasn't planning to call out to you, but it's better than letting you fall into the pond, isn't it? No need to thank me. I did the natural thing given the circumstances. Look at me shamelessly doing the life-saving hero number, despite being in large part responsible for the problem in the first place. I might have the makings of an American politician. Makina gives a quick bow of thanks, and without another word starts to run away from me yet again. Hey, hold it. Where do you think you're going? Don't give me, why are you running away from me? When she asked me point blank, it's not like I have any particular justification for detaining her here. That said, it's kind of unpleasant to be avoided this blatantly. At the very least, if there's a reason she's doing this, I want to know about it. I think I asked this before, but are you scared of me? If there's some reason why you're avoiding me, how about telling me? If possible, I'll try to address it. Again, with the silent treatment. Deciding to pursue the conversation more patiently, I squat down to match my line of sight with Makina's. Do you remember my name?
Yuuji.
That's right. Yuuji's fine. Okay, then call me what you want. I have to say, being called her big brother is a bit embarrassing on my end, but... Well, alright. When I turn around in response to the splashing sounds coming from the pond behind me, there are a number of fish gathered at the surface of the water, flapping their mouths in a demand for more food. It seems they've come to expect a handout when people stand near the pond. Makina, you still have breadcrumbs left? Makina thrusts her hand into her skirt pocket and rubbages through its contents. As she talks, she pulls things out of her pockets one after the other. The items that emerge are mostly sweets like candy, chocolate, and chewing gum, along with an erratic selection of tools like nail clippers, rubber bands, and glue sticks. Although I've heard that women's purses are connected to the fourth dimension, this girl's pockets seem to be connected to a garbage dump. Makina carelessly rains down the rubbish that emerges on the ground around her. One after the other. What is this? I pick up a plastic container shaped like a large film canister. There's a label pasted on the side filled with numbers and symbols of uncertain meaning. I'm not going to steal it or anything. Here, take it. When I hold out the case to her, Makina snatches it back instantly. I'm not going to sneak bites of other people's food at my age. Amane, huh? I didn't. Just saying the first name that popped into my head. It really was her. Guess she's got a surprisingly gluttonous side. Good as her word, Makina shoved some half-eaten bread under my face. No, I wasn't planning to eat it. I take the bread scraps from Makina, tear off some small pieces, and throw them into the pond. The fish at the surface struggle like a pack of piranha for the food, messily gulping it all down. Nice appetite, huh? I thought these things were carp, but now that I get a closer look, they're actually goldfish. From a goldfish snatching game, huh? If these were originally goldfish from a scooping game, they're almost certainly the tiny kind that's sold as live food for carnivorous fish in pet shops, but... these things are huge. Fish generally can't keep growing as long as they're alive, so the more you feed them, the bigger they'll get. What exactly have you been giving them, though? I get it. You know, fish don't really know when they're full. They don't feel pain the way we do either, so they'll eat as much as you give them, even if their stomachs are bulging out. The number one cause of death among aquarium fish is indigestion from being overfed. That's what it said in something I read when I was a kid, at least.
なんて本？
I think it was a magazine called Monthly Junior Science. They mentioned it in some article about raising fish in ozonated water.
へえ、お魚の本なの？
It had articles on all sorts of things, not just fish, animals, space, whatever. My older sister was a seriously dedicated reader. I'd pick up magazines like that when she was finished, although half of it went over my head. As I'm recalling the content of the science magazines I read back then, I suddenly remember something. Hey, Makina, you had some pickled squid in that pocket, didn't you?
あるけど、金魚にあげるの？
No, just take it out for now. Also, have anything we could use as a string.
お裁縫の木目糸ならあるけど、何するの？
You'll see. Receiving the squid from Makina, I firmly tie one end of the thread around it, and then knot the other end to a tree branch I picked up at random. Exactly. So now I toss the squid dangling by the thread into the pond. Around the area where I threw the squid, I can see the shape of the crawfish Makina had been poking at earlier. When I jiggle the squid in front of his face, within a matter of seconds, the crawfish extends his pincers and firmly seizes the bait. There, hooked him. See that? It's a crawfish, not a clawfish. You've got the word wrong. As I dangled the captured crustacean in front of her eyes, Makina stares at it with an expression of immense curiosity. There must be a lot of edible aquatic plants or something in there. Crawfish turn red when they have abundant food. They turn blue. If you take a small newborn crawfish and continuously give it food like potatoes, radishes, or sardines that don't contain carotene, it'll turn blue in a month or so. I read it in a book when I was a kid and ended up trying it out myself. There were some that ended up with a lot of violet spots or white flecks, but I remember getting a few that turned deep blue as well. Okay, then try to catch one yourself. I pull the captured crawfish off the squid to return to the pond, then hand the fishing pole to Makina. Experiencing new things is always worthwhile, so you might as well start by trying to catch one yourself. Don't fall into the pond, alright? Also, try to get the smallest one you can. Taking the crude pull from me, Makina forcefully hurls the squid into the pond. I already told you, it's crawfish, not clawfish. Is that the issue here? I mean, I do remember pronouncing snail as smail back when I was in elementary school for a while, but after my sister pointed it out to me, I stopped making that mistake. Didn't you have someone to point out that sort of mistake for you? Your mom, for instance?
うん。お母さんは私のこと嫌っているから。
I see. There's no mother in the world who hates her child was my mother's line, but by now I'm all too well aware that the world isn't that simple. I suppose there really are mothers who hate their children. And for those children, that can't be a topic they want to chat about with some stranger. An awkward attempt at consolation would backfire here.
お兄ちゃんは優しい人なのね。
Me? Seems like I haven't quite gotten the hang of being called Oni-chan yet. You serious? How am I nice?
ね、私の家族に無関心でいてくれるところ。
Just wasn't interested enough to risk it.
なんで嫌われてるのか興味ない？
I stare steadily at Makina's small back, silhouetted against the pond. If you want to talk, I'll listen.
それは私がバカだから。
Don't they say that kids are cuter when they're a little dumb?
私のバカを侮っちゃいけないのよ。こう見えても私札付きで筋金入りのバカなのよさ。
Can't say I've ever heard of anyone with that fierce a reputation for being stupid before. Well, don't worry about it. There's nothing but idiots in my vicinity, including me.
私ね、別にお兄ちゃんのことが嫌いで避けてたわけじゃないのに、嫌われたくなくて、バカな子だなってそう思われないように、なるべく近寄らないようにしてたのよさ。
It's like I said, I'm surrounded by idiots. If I went around hating people for something like that, I'd run out of my supply of hate real fast. Well, there certainly are people who can't hold together their fragile sense of self-worth except by looking down on others. Even a few true idiots who take those emotions to the extreme become dictators or cult leaders and launch hunts against their inferiors. But why assume you'll be hated over something like that anyway? That way of thinking seems counterproductive. Debase yourself by saying, I'm just an idiot, and you'll just puff up the many self-styled geniuses of the world.
でもね、私あんまねえみたいに綺麗じゃないし、ユミちゃんみたいに頭良くないし、何の才能もないのよさ。
There's no point in standing around with your mouth open waiting for talent to fall from the sky. You make your own.
どうやって？
No matter what you're doing, the most essential thing is to not give up. Fail as many times as it takes. Keep trying persistently until you can call yourself average.
それでも人並みだよ。
Average is just fine. If you can collect a nice group of average level skills, that's already above average. You've created your own sort of talent. Being a hard worker is a talent in its own right, were my sister's words. And from that group of average skills, you can work to improve further on the things that you think you're suited for. A person blessed with talents, in a manner of speaking, is just someone who found a path well suited to them early on. When you get down to it, people can accomplish nearly anything as long as they don't give up. Obvious, but it's true. On the other hand, guys who give up at the first setback will never get anything done. There's no need to rush. You're still a kid. You've got time. Try out anything and everything. Struggle around as much as you want. I rest my hand on Makina's head with a gentle thump. It's at just the right height for this sort of thing. That's what school is for, right? At the very least, I think the principal wants this school to be that sort of a place, so you might as well throw out your chest and do as many stupid things as you want, with pride. Of course, if this girl ends up doing something truly dramatically stupid, the principal will be the one facing the music, so I'm probably overstepping my bounds just a bit here. Why not? Being dumb is fine. In the first place, guys who go around calling themselves geniuses are either weaklings with fragile egos, or jokers using the line to get a laugh. And even if you were some genius, that just makes it easy to mistake yourself for a perfect human and start slacking off. Hairs like that get passed by the tortoises of the world eventually. Don't get me wrong, I just wanted to try playing the nice guy for a bit. You shouldn't trust me that easily, got it? How to put this? I'm not sure how I feel about being put in the same boat as that girl. Makina, I think you've got a bite. No need to rush. Slowly pull it out of the water. See, people can do anything if they try, so don't give up before you start, okay? Okay, then you should go to Amane or Sachi and see if you can find an aquarium to raise it in. Make sure only to feed it stuff without carotene. Oh, you remembered. I put my hand on Makina's head and ruffle her hair around roughly. Alright, better get that crawfish in water while it's still in good shape. Don't overfeed it, okay? Yeah, see you later. Makina, still clutching the crawfish, waves her hand cheerfully and takes off at full speed toward the dorm. Thanks, huh? I don't recall doing anything worthy of much gratitude, but regardless, hearing such a happy thanks feels kind of pleasant. Maybe it's because I was raised in an environment where such words were very rare, but I think being able to thank others so freely is also a sort of talent. It probably seems perfectly commonplace to her, group, so I'm sure she's not even conscious of that skill. I sort of get the feeling. She may just be overlooking the talents she does have. I get it. I guess that's what makes her an idiot. They say that idiots don't catch colds, but it's probably more accurate to say idiots don't realize when they've caught a cold. In the same way, because Makina's an idiot, she's probably oblivious to her own abilities. Honestly, what a weird girl. But then again, weird people are really boring. Or so I think, basking in the peaceful, sluggish atmosphere Makina left in her wake. Well, that was fun. Right. Bye! Oh. Yep. Okay. I had to make sure it was stopped.